What a good day. What a wonderful thing you're doing here.
We need to find more formats like you're doing now to keep this going now. And also when we get back.
Everything in those comments is so empowering, so supportive, so beautiful. And that is what we do in the room every month.
This was not 100% what I expected, which is good.
People will really, really need it.
It's really important to us to use Singular Sensation, yes, as a safe gathering place, but also as a place to amplify and support and offer a safe space too.
How did you get so good at this?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Singular Sensation Online. I am your host, Jenny Walls. My pronouns are she, her, and we are so thrilled to have you join us this evening. We have an amazing show in store for you tonight, so we're just going to get right to it. You don't need to hear from me. You'll do that plenty later. We are joined tonight in conversation by Trevor Campbell of the You Made Me Queer podcast and Adam Malcom of IG Wealth Management, talking about finances and all of the things you need to know to start saving money for your retirement. I know what you're thinking. I'm just trying to get by right now, and we're talking about retirement. It is possible, and Adam is going to shed a bit of light on this very scary subject. We're also joined by Aliya Daniels of the Good Grief community, and she will be taking us through a beautiful breathing exercise and telling us a bit about her work with the Good Grief community. It's beautiful stuff, and she sent us this offering from the UK. We'll also have musical performances by Leah, Allyce, Canali, and Evangelia, Kambites, and I am just so excited about this show, and I hope that you will stick around for all of our guests. And if you've been following us online, we have been teasing a very big announcement, a very massive surprise that we will finally be letting the cat out of the bag later on in the show. So you do not want to miss it. We're very excited. So thank you all so much for joining us. If you don't follow us on Instagram, we encourage you to do so. We post all about our guests and cool things happening in the theater community. You can find us at Singular_Sensation. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Singular Sensation Online, and hit that bell so that you don't miss an episode. Thank you all so much for joining us. Let's start the show. Tell us about the You Made Me Queer podcast.
So You Made Me Queer is a baby podcast. It just came out last month, I guess, in March. And it is basically, I call it an accusatory podcast. It's a comedy interview podcast where people who identify as somewhere on the LGBTQIA+ spectrum get to blame who and or what made them queer. So the idea behind that is basically like, there's this sort of ongoing debate about, what causes people to be queer? Is it like too many hugs or not enough hugs? Or, like you finger paint for too long, or like who knows what? In a way that's so fickle, but has such a big impact on people's lives. So either A, it's, people are born queer and that's okay. Or it's very easy for people to become queer, in which case it's not our fault. And either way, I just want to laugh about it.
We've talked to a lot of people about the importance of telling stories, but telling stories with humor and not just pushing this narrative of like trauma-based storytelling. So I think it's really great that you are offering this form of storytelling that has a sense of humor. Is that something you did on purpose? Is that just kind of the way it came out? How did you conceive the idea of the You Made Me Queer podcast?
I think that's a really good question. I think there's a few things. Yes, I think, quote unquote, people who self-identify as minorities are asked to tell their stories a lot. Mm-hmm. And because those stories inevitably a lot of the time involve some form of trauma, sometimes it becomes sort of a bit of like a dark process of retelling, which is just not personally not my style. So I wanted to do something funny, but also in the way that when you're sharing an experience that's important and teaching people, you know, how to share equity and equality, you have to be very careful. And so I found myself a lot of the time really thinking about like the words I choose and talking about queer identities and blah, blah, blah. And so it was fun to put that on the shelf and be like, I don't have to be so careful in telling my own story. That's something I feel very confident about. And any queer person can tell their own story. So it's just kind of a way to like let the pressure off and just be a big, dumb idiot, which is something I excel at. So I just thought, why not lean in?
Listen, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Fellow big dumb idiot.
That's really just what I want to do. Yeah, like I can learn all the academic terms, but what my wheelhouse has been, you know, just being a big dumb idiot.
Well, you know, I feel like we work in a business where the pressure to be the complete opposite of that is so maybe detrimental to our well-being. So I think being a big dumb idiot and setting that standard that's okay and acceptable and marketable, like why not? Trevor, do you think in having conversations with members of the queer community that sometimes there's a danger of them being presented as representatives of the entire community rather than just a human being themselves?
Yes, 100%. I think certainly with any minority, it's a bit unique with queer people, I think, because they can be an invisible minority. Mm-hmm. You know, whether or not someone presents as being queer in some capacity is very subjective. So yeah, I think one thing that was really important to me, and I make this clear to my guests when I have them on, you're not coming on as an educator. You're not sort of a delegate of the queer community. And my humor is very sort of absurdist and surrealist in that way where, I mean, if someone just heard the show at face value and me saying like, Christian Slater and Robin Hood Prince of Thieves made me queer, they might completely misunderstand what it means to be queer and think like, oh, I can't let my kids watch certain movies. So I'm straight out of the gate, you know, you have to do like a bit of work with that humor. It's not the most obvious humor maybe, but that to me, I think that's when people listen. I mean, you know, we've been in school. It's certain people love a lecture. I think a lot of people turn off, but you absorb things when you're being engaged with in a fun way, I think. So yeah, you know, do I hope people have a greater breadth of the queer experience through the show? Absolutely. And I think that's something I've really tried to do in how I position the guests, their diversity in a lot of ways. But there are better resources available to learn about what it means to be a queer person. Something that certainly I've been tasked with before, and I have friends who are, you know, Black or people of color or from some group where they're asked to sort of speak and teach, usually in a setting that's totally inappropriate, like we're having a coffee or like whatever. And then it's like, so why are people gay? It's like, oh my God, I better get this question right because this is going to shape the way you interact with every queer person ever.
Ambush.
Yeah. And so it's nice to be like, I'm not, if you glean that from this podcast, A+, but I can't promise you will. Sometimes I just want to joke about something and not worry that it's my responsibility to make sure that you understand X, Y, and Z, sort of. So yeah, you can, you know, there are great books out there. There are great TED Talks you can watch. I think the show accomplishes a certain kind of activism, but I also just want it to be funny and interesting. Yeah, it's a very complicated time for humor, I think, like with good reason, because it's a reckoning of a long time of largely like cis straight white men who kind of dominated the comedy community, getting away with anything they wanted, basically.
Oof, yeah.
Yeah. And now, you know, I get that I mean, I'm a cis male who's white. I'm queer. But still, like, it's like you have to, sure, like, just be prepared to be wrong and roll with it. You know, you can relate to this as a theater grad from music theater school. We want to get it right the first time.
Yeah.
And it feels so, as an adult, so confusing to be like, but I'm definitely going to get it wrong, and I'm not supposed to feel bad about that.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of unlearning. We're hearing the word unlearning.
Yeah.
It feels counterintuitive, but also I think there's such a relief in that.
When you let yourself, yeah.
So You Made Me Queer is the latest in your writing, producing career. There's been other stuff. So you've been working for the CBC for a while. What's your journey been with them, and how did you get to You Made Me Queer?
Yeah. So basically, well, my thing has always been, I'm like we talked about before, I'm just the persistent one. So I'm okay to be like the dog at the door who just like scratches until you let me in. Yes.
I feel that.
With no shame. I'm that dog. So with CBC, the intro to that story is I'd been freelancing as a journalist for maybe four or 5 years. I started writing for Now as a theater critic, actually, 6 years ago, maybe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, with Glenn Sumi. Shout out Glenn for
Yeah,
giving me
Glenn.
my first professional journalism job. I had a contact at CBC Podcasts who I'd been in touch with, who knew about a personal story I'd had about. I've worked on a few weird ships, but this theater ship I worked on called Caravan Stage Company, and she said, "I think that might make a good podcast. You should write a pitch for us." So I had no idea what I was doing, but I just wrote this pitch. And long story short, through a long process, it ended up getting greenlit, and we ended up doing a 3-episode miniseries for the Doc Project, which was like, it was like radio journalism school, which I was very lucky for. And then after that, I just kind of continued to work with them.
I love that it started with you just being persistent, not necessarily knowing what you're doing, because I think a lot of people miss out on opportunities thinking, oh, I'll do it when I'm ready. I'll do it when I know more. I'll do it when I'm an expert. We're in the age of the internet. Everyone's an expert. Don't wait.
It's like you just got to be willing to do it, and you need to be willing to teach yourself, and you need to be reliable.
Where can people tune into the podcast and download and review and give you all the love?
Yes, please do. I wish that you would. So you can follow You Made Me Queer on Instagram and Twitter at You Made Me Queer. Also, youmademequeer.com is the website. It is a weekly podcast that comes out every Thursday. There's also a mailbag, so you can write in and we might read your stuff on the podcast. And then, of course, my CBC podcast, if you look for the Doc Project, the first miniseries is called Caravan. So I would recommend checking that out too.
Amazing. Trevor Campbell, thanks for taking the time to join us. Thank you for your work and your humor and just your general wonderfulness. And it's so good to see you.
Thank you for doing this and having me on and treating me to gorgeous, strong-looking hair and a colorful brick wall. You stay safe and see you in person soon.
I hope so. That would be great.
Mwah.
Hi everyone, I'm Julia McClellan. And I'm Tess Venger. And we are the co-founding team of the Canadian Green Alliance, a national not-for-profit dedicated to bridging the gap between sustainability and theater. And we're really excited to invite you to our Green Panel series that's happening once a month.
Our Green Panel series is a space that we're creating where we can dissect and really dive into some of the questions and conversations around sustainability, climate change, the theater, and everything around. We want it to feel like a living room where we can really have candid conversations about these incredibly important topics.
If you've ever felt like the conversation between climate change, climate justice, theater, and how we emerge from COVID-19 as a just industry way above your pay grade, these are for you. I certainly feel that way, and these panels have been an amazing opportunity for me to learn from these incredible panelists we have. We would not be able to make these panels happen without our amazing partners. The Toronto Alliance for the Performing Arts, TAPA, is our series partner, and our incredible producing partners, Singular Sensation, who are making all of this happen on their incredible streaming platform. We could not be more grateful. So please join us. See you soon.
Please join me in welcoming the one, the only, the iconic Leah Allyce Canali. Hey, babe.
Hey, babes, how are ya?
I'm good.
Great intro.
Thank you. Your EP, Light and Dark, just came out. It dropped so recently, and your new video for Invisible War just dropped as well. And you are one of the producers, and your vocals are on Brooklyn Heights' new single, Queen of the North. And just congratulations. And that's not even naming everything that's happened in the past couple of weeks, but just congratulations. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah, the Queen of the North video is pretty boss, I will say. Yeah, so I'm one of the songwriters of Queen of the North, and I sing on the track as well. Although some people think it's Brooklyn, so we'll just let people think that.
You heard it here. We have all the team.
No, she's pretty open about her vocal prowess or lack thereof. But
it's a collaboration, right?
Yeah, and she's an incredible performer. You know, she really did bring the song to life, and the video is stunning. Like I was blown away watching it. We actually didn't get to watch it. I co-wrote the song with another past Singular performer, Stacey K. She's amazing. And we didn't actually get to see the video until it dropped. So we were both kind of waiting with bated breath to see. We saw little teasers, but we didn't see the full thing. So yeah, we were just like the fans, just like the plebes watching with everyone else. No, it's gotten some really good feedback. I think Brooklyn's really excited. Priyanka is on the track as well. And Stacey and I have been working with Priyanka on some of her own music. So that'll come out later in the year. It's been exciting. Yeah, the EP's out. So that's amazing. I mean, it was a long time coming. Unfortunately, it did hit some roadblocks due to COVID and lockdowns. I couldn't get in the studio for a long time. So that delayed the process quite a bit. But I'm happy that it's out. You know, I have a track with Katya, so that's really cool, with Tainomi Banks, another Canadian legend, Selena Vile, who we love on this show. And yeah, it's good to have it out. I mean, it's always daunting putting out your own music, but it's good to have it out in the world. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm performing for Pride this year, so there'll be some original music from me at Pride, which will be great. Yeah, it's cool actually. Invisible War, the song that I just released video for, it got picked up by this radio show, this Can Queer radio show, and they were doing a show about It's a Sin. Which, if you don't know, is about the beginning of the HIV/AIDS pandemic. Super, super important. And they used Invisible War for that subject matter. And me and the songwriter Tafari Anthony, who's incredible, we were like, oh, this song is actually really applicable for HIV and AIDS. So I'm using that song for Pride. So that's incredible, and it's a cause and a movement that's really close to my heart. I've certainly had a lot of friends pass from the disease, and also many that are living and thriving and striving and waiting for a cure. And so I'm happy to have my music kind of help push that along. I feel like you have your pronouns on the bottom, and I feel like I should have my pronouns down there too. She, her are my pronouns. Well, I think it's important. I think we just had Trans Visibility Day. I think it's really important for cis people to get on board. It opens the door. There's a lot of back and forth about it, but I think it opens the door, and then it's not awkward for anyone. Like if everyone does it, then it's just out there, and people that do use different pronouns feel comfortable. And I think that's great.
We like to kind of talk about on the show, keeping it realistic, because not everybody's feeling creative. Not everybody that's producing work is feeling on top of the world while they do it. Tell us about your journey with the EP. I mean, I'm your friend, so we've talked about it quite a lot.
I think for me, in terms of sort of soldiering on and creating. There are definitely days when I feel really motivated and I get a lot of stuff done, and I film videos and I record stuff and I write. And then there's a lot of days when I don't do that. And at first I got really angry at myself about it. I didn't think I was doing enough. I think a lot of artists kind of felt a bit like that. But I think we all need to be a little kind to ourselves, because this is not easy. We're not in creative environments. We're not around our peers. We're not experiencing life in a way that would necessarily elicit a lot of content. If you are an artist, you need to be kind to yourself and know that you will create when you have the spoons, I guess, to do it.
So I know you're going to perform for us this evening, but before we let you get to that, what have your top 3 kind of pandemic survival pleasures been? Like, turn off your brain, put your feet up, and just tune out.
Just tune out. I mean, I think I did, like, Candy Crush is a big one for me. I know it's so silly and so stupid, but it really does just like my brain turns off, and I
play Tetris.
Yeah, we all have those.
Same kind of thing.
Yeah. Other one, I mean, girl, you and I are the same. We love a good murder podcast. We love a good true crime moment. But yeah, no, I do love a good. I love a good either true crime. I do love true crime. And I like the really like boring ones where it's like a British man just recounting things. Like I know everyone's into, I mean, obviously like my favorite murder was sort of a gateway drug.
Love my favorite murder. Yeah. Shout out Karen and Georgie, who are clearly watching this show right now.
Love. And Stella, I do love my kitten.
Leah, Allyce, Canali, you are just, I said it before, I'll say it again. To me, you are iconic, and I'm so glad that you took some time to chat with us. So I leave you with the stage to perform for us. Thank you so much.
Of course. Touch my lips, I feel you burn. Hard but slow, smooth. What I ever learned, it's amazing. I can taste it, taste you. I'm so sad, but with you I shine. Oh, talk slow, drink fast, do anything to make this last. I need you, please stay. We're almost there. I feel no pain. I can't control what you do to me. 'Cause you've got a hold deep inside, and I'm losing it all because of what you do. I'm wasted on you, wasted. Burnt velvet, whatever the cost, I'm yours. I have no choice. I have no choice. I'm a little laced, intoxicated, can't escape it. Lately I've been seeing double, full withdrawal, cold and shaking, blackout. I want you near me. I can't seem to break free. I'm here again with you. I got nothing left, but we'll make it through. I can't control what you do to me. 'Cause you've got a hold deep inside, and because of what you do. I'm wasted on you, wasted on you. Oh, I'm wasted on you, wasted on you. Oh, I'm wasted on you, and I can't control what you do to me. 'Cause you've got a heart deep inside, and I'm losing it all because of what you do. I'm wasted on you, wasted on you. I'm wasted.
Hi friends, Jenny here from Singular Sensation.
Hello, I am Gabi from the New Local.
And we have a very big announcement. Hey Gabi, what are we doing?
Oh, we're bringing back open mic, Jenny.
We're bringing back the open mic. It's happening. We're doing it.
It's time, you know? We have been sitting alone at our computers for way too long. It's time to get together online and do some singing.
And I think we needed a bit of time to process what was happening and to, deal with what was. But now here we are. And I agree, Gabi, it is time. So Singular Sensation and the New Local are teaming up to bring you an online musical theater open mic party.
Woo! That feels so good to say, Jenny.
It feels so good to say. I feel like I'm home.
I know, me too.
What does this mean? Well, it means that we will still be a bi-weekly show, but our first show of the month will be our talk show, talking about all of the latest and greatest things happening in theater and the world around us. And the second show of the month will be the open mic party. Now, Gabi, what is that part of Singular Sensation going to look like? Tell us about it.
So we're bringing it back, but we're doing it a little bit differently. We're doing it over Zoom, much like Statler's or 120 Diner of past open mic experiences. This is a drop-in, come as you are, come as you will, in a Zoom room, in a contained, safe environment. We are going to have some pre-sign up, so you can pre-register to sing, or you can just show up and sing whatever you want. You can sign up on the night. We will have a limited amount of people signing up on the night. And guess what? You can also just come and watch.
And we'll be able to see each other in the room, just like way back in the day when we all really were in the room together.
It's designed to feel like you're in a room together. So we thought that this was a really nice platform to bring back the open mic.
And we're so excited to be partnering with our friends at the New Local. We are all about community at Singular Sensation, and this is just another example about how we really are and need to be all in this together. So the first open mic party is going to be Monday, April 19th, and we will be posting all about it, how to sign up, how to get there, what to expect in the coming days. So definitely stay tuned and be sure to follow Singular Sensation on Instagram and the New Local to find out everything you need to know. And if you have questions, you can get a hold of us that way. Gabi, I can't wait. We may have something in the works to kick off our new venture together. It's about time we join.
Time. We may just have something. It wouldn't be an open mic without Jenny and Gabi singing together.
So join us, won't ya? You won't want to miss it.
Hello, my name Aliya Daniels, and I'm coming in right now from London, UK. I am a breathwork facilitator and mindfulness meditation teacher, and I offer that through private sessions, through corporate workshops, and through group classes and programs. And most recently, I have began a project with my two sisters called Good Grief Community, where we share tools like mindfulness, movement, meditation, breath work with people who are moving through grief and loss. And this is a passion project that we have started since we lost our mom to cancer in 2018. And these were the tools and resources that we used most right after her death, and then have continued to use as we move through different phases of our own grief processes and journeys. So we wanted to begin sharing these tools with others in a way, in a community that was safe and welcoming. And so that is what we are doing over at Good Grief Community. What we have learned as we have began exploring and sharing these kinds of holistic tools as a way to move through grief is that grief is not a process or an experience that happens in isolation. So part of grief is experiencing all of the range of emotions that we go through on a day-to-day basis: shame, guilt, anxiety, overwhelm, stress. These are things that affect our life, whether we're moving through a specific experience of loss and grief or not. And so with all that said, the practices that we share can be really valuable for moving through grief, but also moving through any experience or challenge that might feel a little bit uncomfortable, that might be hard. So I wanted to share a practice with you today, a short breath and meditation practice that you could do and could help you if you're moving through grief and loss, or might just be something to help you feel a little bit more centered, a little bit more grounded as you move through the rest of your evening. So I assume that you are probably sitting down on a couch or a chair. So if you are, just scoot your bum forward a tad so that you can firmly ground and plant your feet into the ground. And with that pressure from your feet, you're going to use that to lengthen your spine to sit up a little bit straighter for our very short practice. And you can just relax your shoulders down. And we will begin by taking 3 deep breaths together through our nose and then exhaling through our mouth. So you can close your eyes if you'd like, or just send your gaze gently downwards, whatever feels more comfortable. And together on the next breath, we will inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Again, inhale through the nose, exhaling with a little bit of a sigh. Inhale and exhale. Good. And then taking just a moment here to go inwards, to focus your attention on yourself, what's happening in your body, what's happening in your inner world. Just gently drop your chin in towards your chest. Blink your eyes back open and come back to the space. We're going to do a little bit of movement. So we'll start by interlocking our fingers in front of our body, reaching them up above our head until you can feel the very slightest arch in the top of your spine. We're just waking ourselves up a little bit. And then exhale, let your arms fall down until your neck comes in towards your chest, and you just gently bring a tiny roll to the top of the spine. And then inhale, reaching your arms up again until you have a very small arching of the back, and then exhale, rolling your arms down. Last time, sweeping your arms up. And this time you're going to bring your hands behind your head so that your elbows come up beside you. Let your shoulders relax and squeeze your elbows together very, very slight, very gently, so that you have a opening of the chest here. And we're going to take a deep breath together since our chest is open. We have a greater lung capacity in this position. We'll take a big inhale and a big exhale. One more big inhale. Exhale. and then reaching your arms back up, and very, very slowly, gently let your hands fall down to the side. And you might already feel a little bit of tingling, some moving energy, some moving breath through your hands. Just let them fall, place them gently back onto your thighs, and we'll close our eyes again, or gently send your gaze downwards. And bringing your attention back to your breath by focusing on the tip of your nose, and for a moment just perceiving the feeling of the breath entering and exhaling through your nose, the temperature, the sensation, the weight. Then together we're going to move into a counted breath. We're going to inhale and exhale both for the count of 4, and I will guide you through the whole thing. This is the top breathing technique that I recommend again and again for anxiety or challenges sleeping. It is a mindfulness technique that just brings you back into the present moment, brings your nervous system out of fight or flight into its rest and digest and emotional processing place. So it just helps balance everything out and relax your whole system. So on the next breath, we'll inhale together on 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. And then continuing the count yourself as we come into a place of stillness. And this is a mindfulness meditation to just keep this count, to keep this focused awareness on your breath. And every time your mind starts to wander, you lose count, you can just bring it back to that count. You can bring it back to your breath. And this is something you can do throughout the day whenever you need it. So just taking one moment here, completely relaxed, completely focused on the breath, stillness. And we'll bring our practice to a close by bringing our hands together and just rubbing them together in front of your body, creating a little bit of heat and a little bit of friction between your hands. And when they feel warm, you can bring them up to cover your eyes, cupping your hands around your eyes, giving them a moment to rest. Relax. And then when you feel ready, gently blink your eyes open behind your hands, let in a little bit of light, and then you can bring your hands down and come back to the screen. So that is a very, very short and sweet snippet of what I do. But if you're interested in more, I teach breathwork, mindfulness, and meditation, and you can find me at Move and Mindful, either that handle on Instagram or my website is moveandmindful.com. And I have the links there as well to Good Grief Community. The handle is at Good Grief Community, goodgrief.co is our website. And if you're interested in joining us to practice these holistic breathwork, meditation, mindfulness techniques, either for grief and loss or just for whatever it is that you're moving through, please don't hesitate to reach out. I would love to hear from you. Sending lots and lots of love to you wherever you are in the world. Have a great evening.
Hi, my name is Evangelia Kambites. I'm a singer, songwriter, actor, dancer, and multi-instrumentalist based in Toronto. I'm excited to get to share some music with you today. So I'm going to start off with a tune from my album called Mississippi. You said, let's stay in bed. Cancel all our plans today. It's looking like the sky is turning gray. Anyway, I said, let's live out loud. Clock is ticking extra fast. Who knows how long this moment will last? How long until the lightning strikes? Hide away under a tree where you won't get hit by that fire from the sky. And can we outrun the storm? I'm counting 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. I better get gone. How much time do we have before the storm comes in and we have to run away from the lightning and smell the rain on the pavement? Drops begin to fall, waiting for the thunder's roar, wondering what we're really waiting for, and how long till the lightning strikes? Hide away under a tree where you won't get hit by that fire from the sky. And can we outrun the storm? Counting 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Better get gone. Don't need to act like we're caught in the eye. There's so many ways for us to get by. Winds may be strong and they might try to knock you down, but 1 Mississippi, I won't let it. 2 Mississippi, no, I won't let it. 3 Mississippi, I won't let it. Now while I'm around, how long until the lightning strikes? Hide away under a tree where you won't get hit by that fire from the sky. And can we outrun the storm? Counting 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi. I better get gone. The next tune is also from my album. It is called Burden. And I wrote this song when one of my closest friends lost her father. And everything felt so helpless. And this song was what came out as a result. What do you need? What can I do? Need a moment to stop emotion. I'll stop time for you and let me carry your burden. It hurts to see you hurt, and I'll strip away all your pain, be your shield from the rain. I'll keep you safe always. I know it's hard. I know it's rough. There's still light at the end of shield from the rain. I'll keep you safe and hide your heart in my hands. I'll lift you up, help you understand. Let me carry your burden. It hurts to see you hurt, and I'll strip away all your pain, be your shield from the rain. I'll keep you safe and let me carry your burden. It hurts to see you hurt, and I'll strip away all your pain, be your shield from the rain. I'll keep you safe always.
Thank you so much for watching. You can find me on social media on Instagram and Twitter at Kambites. Those are my handles on both platforms. And my music is available on all streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube Music, Deezer, you name it, it's there. My debut album, Feel the Fall, is available. And I hope that you check it out. And I hope that you've enjoyed this little bit of entertainment. Thanks, everyone.
Welcome to my little home-based studio where I formulate all my natural skincare, body products, natural perfume, and cosmetics. Everything's holistic and everything's made by me. So over here, you're looking at my skincare and body products section. I have all my natural scrubs. I have my aromatherapy products, my soaps. I have some Zen therapy rollers, my aromatherapy products here. My favorite, absolutely loved and adored, activated charcoal deodorant, absolutely the best. And I have more soaps over here. These are my soft and beautiful, smooth as butter body lotion bars. Some more hand lotions, body wash, hair products, shampoos, and conditioners, all made by me. And they're all scented naturally with natural essential oils. In this little cubby here, I have some of my natural aromatherapy oils. These are all my essential oils in here. And this is how I make my little perfumes. See this little bottle there? I have them ready for, with flowers, little florets in there, ready for oils and fragrances. These are some of my finished products. My body oils and my lovely finished perfumes, natural perfumes, and solid perfumes and roll-on perfumes. So I have all of my mineral products. Everything in my line is mineral based, which is hypoallergenic for the skin. It's natural and no harsh scents or chemicals and no fillers.
Talking about something that everyone feels relaxed, carefree, and calm about, and that is money. But here to help us out with some cool tips and some insight on all things financial, well, not all things, but a few things that we can sneak into this much time, is actor turned consultant, Adam Malcom. Adam, welcome.
Hey, Jenny. Thanks for having me.
I'm going to speak for, myself, and I feel like I'm not alone. It is like another language to me. It is like another language. I'm sure I'm not alone, and there's no shame in that, which is why we do segments like this. It's an overwhelming topic, and the reason that we are doing this is to try and take that and filter it a little bit and make it a bit more accessible, which is, why you're joining us today.
So first off, when people think of an emergency fund, what do they think of? And generally speaking, they think of like that piggy bank, right? You got a bunch of pennies in it, kind of got to smash it open, need it for something. So in effect, like an emergency fund in 2021 is not a whole lot different than something that you might have had, in terms of a piggy bank. It can be a little bit kind of more complicated, and there's different ways that you can make it more sophisticated if you want. But ideally speaking, really what you want is like easily accessible cash, right? So how do you know how much you need? Well, this number is different for everyone. The rule of thumb generally says that you should be looking between 3 and 6 months worth of expenses. So with artists, and particularly people who are self-employed, have their own business, or otherwise don't have a very stable employment situation, I say you want to err on the side of caution and go towards the larger amount. So kind of 6 months. But even if you look at that number and it doesn't feel like it's enough in your gut, you might want to increase that by an amount. So let's say you've looked at your budget, you've done your budget, you know that you have fixed kind of costs, including a little bit extra fun. You need some kind of fun money, otherwise, it doesn't matter how good your plan is, you won't stick to it. And it's $2,000 a month. So $2,000 a month times 6, so you should be aiming for, what would that be, about $12,000. Now it sounds like a huge amount of money, and don't get me wrong, like it can be, but that's what you're aiming for. And kind of what you want to work towards. This is by no means an own original idea by me. This is old wisdom, if you will. But sometimes saving a percentage of your paycheck is a good idea, especially for artists, because rather than saying it's a fixed amount of I want to save $100 a month. Well, maybe there's some months where $100 is not quite enough, but some months there's $100 is too little, right? Saving, kind of deciding with yourself, being like, okay, I'm going to take 10% of what I make off the top before it even gets to my kind of budget, so to speak. So sometimes your bank will even have things where you can do this within your bank account. Like, sometimes on their online banking system, you can set it up so that every time your paycheck comes in, it'll automatically take off a certain amount and put it in a separate savings account for you. So that's something that could work. Yeah. So, I mean, the rule of thumb is often like 10%, you hear 15%, you hear 20%, you'll hear so many different, but the main thing is like what makes the most sense for you, right? So if it's 10%, when that money comes in, when that gig comes in, whatever it is, take that 10% off the top, take also separately whatever you need to save for taxes, of course, off the top, then whatever
you need to save for taxes.
You do need to pay taxes. I'm not an accountant, but a couple tax myths that I want to debunk right here. First off, anybody who works in the serving industry, you have to declare 100% of all of your tips. I'm very aware that not everybody does that, but as far as the CRA is considered, listen, if you hear a server at work tell you only have to declare 10%, you only have to declare 15%, they're either lying or they're wrong. They're probably just wrong. You have to declare everything as far as the CRA is considered. Same thing with any kind of gigs that you have, same thing with everything, etc. So don't be like told by people that you don't, because you do.
And for everyone whose shoulders are turning into earrings, it's okay. You got this.
So going back to what we were talking about, so you take, say, 10% off, you take whatever the applicable tax amount off is, then the next step is, of course, you got to fund all your fixed costs. And as I mentioned before, that should include anything that like, dance class, etc., anything that's like super important that's non-negotiable to you. Then, of course, would be like the next thing after that would be kind of discretionary and fun money. And always make sure to, make sure you have a space for that. But also, you'll know if you do it in this way, where you've already saved off the top for yourself. You've already you've paid yourself first. You've paid the tax man next. You've covered your rent, etc. Whatever's left over, you should be free to do with it as you please and not feel, again, guilty about it. Now, once you get that, then the question of, okay, well, how does this help me? What this will have, it'll stop you from going towards kind of the credit card or going towards a line of credit and financing that. Because as we know, those debts, the convenience that we get for being able to access that credit today, you have to pay for in interest. The second thing, and this is really where you also start to see a lot of power in emergency funds, is when you get to that next step and you have money that you're investing in is growing for you, this emergency fund acts almost as a firewall against that. So with the emergency fund, it's like you want to start, of course, very first and foremost, looking at your budget, making sure that you're living within your means, that you're able to kind of pay your bills, that you're not starving, all those sort of things. The emergency fund is like the second step after that.
You mentioned budgeting. Budgeting is more than just intention or a state of mind. It really is like a practice. So can you talk to us a bit about how to go about budgeting successfully?
Honestly, and Jenny, I love the way that you put it there, that it's a practice, because it very much is. And like anything, whether it be mindfulness, yoga, etc., when you first start out, you're going to be very much a junior. And you're going to make mistakes and your budget's not going to be perfect. But as you grow and as you get better at it, you will naturally, first off, it'll be easier, it'll be faster. You won't have to spend hours on it. You might just have to spend minutes. Secondly, you'll be able to deal with kind of things as they come up. So first off, for artists, when it comes to budgeting, what you want to think of is the following things. First off, sorry, I said that, but you want to think of the following things. When it comes to your expenses, budget very liberally. And when it comes to your income, budget very conservatively, right? So and this requires a little bit of having a data set, if you will. Like if you have kind of gigs coming up, you have fluctuating income. So you also have a side job, kind of maybe teaching or serving or admin work or something like that. It might take you a little bit to kind of really understand what you're making in, say, a year. Let's say, for instance, in a year you made $50,000. But what that looks like is this, and then here's a gig, and then here's a month where maybe there weren't too many gigs, and then here's where there was a couple, and then here's a big gig, and then kind of thing. So you want to spread that out and understand, in the months where you're a little fat, if you will, where you make a little bit more money, use that to cover the months where you're a bit thin. So in 2021, I mean, you don't have to budget kind of sitting around the table with kind of papers all over the place like you see in the movies and that sort of thing. There are apps that make it so much easier. So you can use some of these apps to kind of hook up to your credit cards, hook up to your bank accounts, hook up to your investment accounts and things like that, and track literally, like, as things come in, it'll go right into the budget. You need to know, you need to understand what are your true expenses. If you're an artist and you're putting down your fixed expenses as like rent and groceries, the obvious things, but then you're putting down, say, your voice lessons as a optional expense. Technically speaking, that is an optional expense. I mean, you're not going to die if you don't get those voice lessons. But if it's something so important to you, you need to be treating it like it's a fixed expense. It needs to be like, you would much rather go without Starbucks coffee, or you would much rather go without, a new video game than probably your acting classes. Of course, if that makes sense to you, right? A budget has to be very personal. And it has to be something that makes sense for you. And you need to include a little bit of room, or sometimes even a lot of room, for fun, right? I mentioned this a little bit before, but I'll say it again. Like, if you have a plan where you're living like a church mouse, and you're squirreling away every little penny, but you are hating your life the entire time that you're doing it, how long do you think you're going to stick with that plan? Not long, right? So yeah, it's like, understand kind of your fixed and your true expenses, kind of budget with the idea of your income. You're being very conservative. You're taking what you expect to make kind of as your littlest amount, and your expenses very liberally. And then when you do that, anytime there are these, say, like a really big commercial comes in, right? You can take, in the very extreme, you could take all that money and just put it right towards your goals. And you'll know that I've already budgeted at home to cover all my expenses, so I can do that without feeling guilt.
If people are watching and are like, I want help, where can people find you?
Yeah, I mean, you guys can find me on Instagram at Adam Malcom FP. My Facebook is a little bit of a longer link, and it's facebook.com/Adam Malcom IG Wealth Management. Otherwise, people can always drop me an email, kind of my name, adam.malcom@ig.ca. You know, if you have any kind of one-off questions or anything like that, you know, I'm always happy to answer. Or again, it's 2021. You can slide in my DMs. That works too.
Yay! Any last words of wisdom to leave our viewers with today?
Basically, I would say that, you know, as they say, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Like I said, for people who it's their full-time job to get in front of thousands of people and, you know, put their art out there and put themselves and their heart out there, like, you guys, trust me, that's much scarier than anything when it comes to finances, really. And if you can do that, like, you can do this.
I love that. If you can get on a stage and put your art out there, you can do this. Adam, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to having you back again to continue this conversation about financial health. You are so wonderful and generous. Thank you for this time. And we can't wait to see you again. Thank you all so much for joining us for another episode of Singular Sensation Online. If there's an initiative, a company, a movement that you would like to tell us about, get in touch with us. You can email us at singularsensation@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at @singular_sensation, where we post about our guests and exciting things happening in our community. We can't wait to see you all at our first open mic party coming back on April 19th. We will be posting all the details, and we can't wait to start our new journey with the new local. Thank you again to all our guests, Trevor Campbell, Adam Malcom, Leah Canali, Aliya Daniels, Evangelia Kambites, Gabi Epstein, and our friends from the Canadian Green Alliance and the SideBiz Studio. We leave you now with another performance by Leah Canali. Good night, everyone.
Will I make it out alive? Will I make it out alive? Will I make it out alive? Will I make it out? Will I make it out alive? Will I make it out alive? Will I make it out alive? Will I make it out? I am the monster. I am the cure. I'm every dream scattered on the floor. I am a fighter. I'm on the ropes. I'm holding on to my last hope and dream. Oh, I'm fighting an invisible war, longing for the day that I don't feel this no more. Lost futures, all that I can't see, staring back at me with no empathy. I'm losing my days, losing my mind, but I'm not dying. I'm fighting an invisible war, longing for the day that I don't feel this no more. I'm losing my days, losing my mind, but I'm not dying. No, I am the monster. I am the cure. Through the battle, I can win the war. I might be broken, I might be gold. I'm holding on to my last hope and dream. Oh, I'm fighting an invisible war, longing for the day that I don't feel this no more. Lost futures, all that I can't see, staring back at me with no empathy. I'm losing my days, losing my mind. mind, losing my mind, but I'm not dying. I'm fighting. Oh, but I'm not dying. So afraid of dying that I just keep living. Danger to myself is so unforgiving. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Will I make it out alive? I'm so afraid of dying that I just keep living. Danger to myself is so unforgiving. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. But I'm not dying. No, no. Will I make it out alive? Oh, I'm fighting an invisible war. I'm longing for the day that I don't feel this no more. Oh, I'm fighting an invisible war, longing for the day that I don't feel this no more. Lost futures, all that I can't see, staring back at me with no empathy. I'm losing my days, losing my mind, losing my mind, but I'm not dying. I'm fighting an invisible war, longing for the day that I don't feel this no more. I'm losing my days, losing my mind, losing my mind, but I'm not dying. Oh, I'm not dying. Will I make it